Hello, Corey Good here. I'm here with another Secret Space Program update, and I'm very excited to bring this one to you. If you could, real quick, make sure you go and subscribe to this channel. Also, go to ascensionworks.tv and subscribe. It is free, and I put a lot of information there that I don't put out in other places just because it'll get me shadow banned. Okay, so today I'm obviously not in a beautiful place. That's how I prefer to shoot these videos. I prefer to walk around in the beauty that I'm so lucky to live around and bring you the updates. But today I'm going to bring them to you from notes, which I have already published on social media, and I'm posting them down in the description so you can follow along or transcribe to a different language if you like. But I'm going to be reading over these notes and following these notes because I wanted to make sure to get this information in a certain order. So this will be not as easy flowing as my normal videos because I'm following notes here, so please bear with me. Okay, so recently the Zulu, and I'm going to explain more about the Zulu in our next video. They're an extraterrestrial race in our local cluster of inhabited planets or star systems, and they're extremely highly advanced and evolved. And they are tall, African looking, but the Zulu name was a military name assigned to them and does not associate them with the Zulu in South Africa. I just wanted to make that clear, but I will bring a lot of their very interesting history to you in one of our next videos. So the Zulu, as I reported in an earlier video, are the representatives of the new guardians of this galaxy. And, the guardians are the ones who, help make sure that the flow of that galaxy occurs according to the logos or the mind of that galaxy, which is kind of like a god, if you want to think about it. It's the active creator of that galaxy. Each, the universe is basically the one infinite creator, whatever that is, sitting back and having a big daydream, thinking about duality, wondering about duality. And when we look at the cosmic web, what we see are the results of the giant neurons firing off, and all of that intent as energy feeds through our stars. And our stars, each star has its own personality or logos and frequency, and it is putting off its own type of experience within its sphere. Each galaxy is doing the same thing, and the guardians basically are like archangels representing the mind of the galaxy, the intention of the galaxy. So our sister galaxy, as it's often called, Andromeda, has the exact same situation going on. They have, the mind of its galaxy has intent for a certain experience over a period of time within that galaxy, and their guardians help that process. Well, recently, the guardians from Andromeda contacted the new guardians and introduced the representatives of that galaxy, the kind of, like the Zulu are the representatives for the new guardians, and they're flesh and blood beings. There are flesh and blood beings that they were introduced to from Andromeda that call themselves the Hue, like H-E-W, Hue. And we were shown holographic images of them, and the women are about 6.5 feet tall, and the men looked around 7 feet tall when compared to some Zulu that they were with, just eyeballing it. We weren't given the exact how many feet they were, but they were Very muscular, long arms. The elbow went. I mean, they were just real long and lanky, but muscular, and they had a silver like garment that wrapped around them, sort of like a mummy, and looked like strips, very tight fitting. They had blue skin, and they had black eyes and black hair. This group has telepathically been reaching out to people in our galaxy for quite a while. They had even reached out to people on our planet for a number of decades, but they withdrew. They won't really communicate that much with people from this planet anymore because people start getting these messiah complexes and feeling like they're these great prophets, and their egos take over, and then this ET group can't work with them anymore. So they pretty much see humanity as compromised in that way, and sort of their equals, intellectually and spiritual developmentally, are the Zulu. So they explained to the Zulu that they have been going through the exact same problem in their galaxy that we have. The AI had come in and corrupted different ET groups. In our galaxy, we have the Orion group that is made up of, I've learned, 5 negative ET groups, including the reptilians, the tall white, we call them the grays, but the tall grays, a lot of people call them, and insectoid groups, including mantids. And there are 2 other groups that are in the further part of the galaxy that we don't run into that much, and I'm not that familiar with, that are a part of this Orion group. Well, in the Andromeda galaxy, this group slowly came together, and they were influenced by AI, this AI god that we call it, which isn't really a god, and it isn't really AI either. It's a consciousness that bled over from another reality, and it started traveling. It existed in the past, present, and the future at the same time. That's why this big war is a temporal war, because it infiltrated all the different timelines to some degree. So in the Andromeda galaxy, the Hugh told us that these groups, negative groups, started to infiltrate and corrupt the Super Federation from their galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy. We have a Super Federation in our galaxy, and the Super Federation was something that was set up by the Guardians long ago, to where it's sort of like a central space station in its own little dimensional pocket that the different federations and federated worlds groups would come together and meet, and where trade and cosmic law and all of those types of things were supposed to be enforced. And for many, many, many cycles, as far back as anyone could remember, the system has worked perfectly. But the last number of galactic cycles, after the infiltration really took over with the AI, it threw everything into havoc. Both of the super federations in our galaxy and in the Andromeda galaxy became corrupt. And the name of the group that is similar to our Orion group, the Hugh told us that we should refer to them as the Andromeda Syndicate. And most of their Andromeda Syndicate has been defeated. And they, just like in our galaxy, the galaxies are coming together, Andromeda and the Milky Way. And really, it's over time they're coming together. To these higher density beings, we are already a merged super galaxy. They don't see time the way we do. But anyway, where we are linearly is that, we have the Andromeda Galaxy and we have the Milky Way Galaxy that are starting to merge and come together. Well, the outer rims of each of those galaxies that are closest to each other are where all the action has been going on and is still going on when it comes to the negative groups, the AI, trying to infiltrate and take over the galaxies. Towards the center of both galaxies are the most evolved beings. The ascension process, everything is happening much quicker, and they're much further along than we are in the outer, in the mid to outer rims. So what they reported to us is that they had isolated their negative group, the Andromeda Syndicate, to a number of stars in their galaxy towards the outer rim closest to where it would merge with ours. And that is where most of our bad guys have been trapped, in star systems out towards the outer rim, where we have a whole lot of good guys that basically have them trapped, including the Global Galactic League of Nations and a few other groups that are working together. So unfortunately, in our galaxy, there are 14 star systems that are considered strongholds, where all the negative groups have moved back and are hiding out in these star systems. In our local 52 star local stellar neighborhood, Aldebaran and Sol, our system, are unfortunately 2 of the 14 in our galaxy that are strongholds. And the Hugh also mentioned that in their battles with their Andromeda Syndicate, they were running into our galactic bad guys, the Orion group. And alongside the Orion group was the Dark Fleet. So humans like us fighting alongside the bad guys inside Andromeda. So a lot of those bad guys were captured or isolated in Andromeda, and likewise, their remnants of their Andromeda Syndicate were trapped here. And in our solar system, there are literally thousands of ships of various sizes from this Andromeda Syndicate and the Orion group that are all massed around our the gas giants in our star system, and they're preparing for their last big fight. Now, one of the interesting things that I was told was that the most deceptive, vicious, and cunning group was a group that we've been referring to as the Rogue Federation. It's a group of tall, angelic-looking Caucasian humans that have been showing up in our history for actually over 7,000 years. They've been coming down as angels, setting up religions, doing things to tweak our consciousness. And what we found out is through that process, they've been helping the Orion group come down and create religions that cause us to create our own hell and our own even, demons and shadow beings. They all come from the shadow side of our mass consciousness. And we were tricked into manifesting those by these ET groups, just so that they could keep us at a certain level, consciousness-wise, feed, while all these groups and the AI feed off of our loosh, our fear. And then they slowly keep our consciousness controlled and down while technologically we grow, and they influence that, and they influence us into a transhumanist future. These beings convince every world they go to do brain chips and nanites in their body, and if they do this, they promise them all of these wonderful technologies, an internet that's millions of times faster than the way we access data now. But what the beings don't realize is that when they take in the nanites and the brain chips, that they open up a back door to this AI, this super consciousness, to be able to affect the way we behave, to read the way we think, and basically to control us. And I know I should have given the trigger warning earlier, but trigger warning right now. If you have built up a religion around aliens that look like humans, who are angelic, coming from the sky and saving humanity, this will trigger you. These beings have been coming here and tricking us for thousands of years. They've changed their tactics, they've changed their names. They go by the Federation, the Galactic Federation of Light, the Galactic Federation of Worlds. They've gone as Pleiadians and all sorts of other names. But they've had the same agenda, and they are the same group. And they are keeping us in a state of looking for saviors, for some sort of being, a savior to come down and save us from ourselves and whatever negative ETs are here. And that's a trap, because we are responsible, each star system is responsible for clearing up its own mess. We are given assistance and lots of prayer and energetic help. But as we begin to clear out our own corruption, because humans for thousands of years have been working with this Orion group. And like I said before, humans in the Dark Fleet have been going out and taking part in conquest that has brought a lot of karma onto us. So let me look through my notes here and make sure I'm getting it all, but yeah, but this rogue federation has been pretty insidious. If you look back at my previous SSP updates, there's one where the Global Galactic League of Nations declares independence from the cabal, basically, the ICC, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate that controls all of humans' space structure. And they did so because this super federation that they were working with, introduced to them by the ICC to help them develop some technologies, began to start having affairs, like physical affairs. We're talking like, just like, the angels from the Bible and the Quran and other places, coming down and finding the women fair and, basically seducing the women, and the women on these the Federation women on these colonies were seducing the men, and they were getting them to develop brain chips. And these brain chips, once they were integrated into the brain, were not easy at all to remove. They were told it would be fatal. But when they were introduced, they took about 90 days for all the neurons to bond to it and to start working. In that time period, some of them found out that this super federation was actually working with the Orion group, and the Global Galactic League of Nations had this huge revolt. Please go listen. You really, if you want to understand these updates, you need to go and watch the previous 8 updates, the official SSP updates that I did. They're done with robot voice. I apologize for that, but the Secret Space Program Alliance wanted me to deliver it exactly like that, so I did. But there's really good information in them. They're only 10 to 20 minutes each. Please go back and watch those. I'll put a link to them down in the description. Let me see. I think I've covered just about everything. Yeah, and in in an upcoming video, I'm going to cover how these all of these this group of local galaxies, dozens of galaxies that have their own logos, consciousness, personality, that have guardians working under them for dozens of galaxies. They have all been having a problem with this AI infiltration and this corruption. So they're all going to be taking a part in these cosmic trials. And I'm going to explain in another video how the cosmic trials work. It's very interesting. They actually utilize the cosmic web and the creative thought energy of the one infinite creator that pulses through this cosmic web and feeds creation. The sun is basically a big replicator. It's taking energy, thought from the one infinite creator, and that energy is exploding out of the sun into matter, what we're made of, what everything on the planet's made of. So we're going to talk more about that whole concept as well, which is very heady and hard to break down. But let me see. Yeah, and then I'm going to go more into the Zulu. The Zulu have a very, very cool history. And it's very shocking to a lot of people. I know that the beings that are helping us the most are not Caucasian. It's not a case of cosmic white entitlement, after all. I mean, look how well it worked out for the Native Americans when the Spaniards came. They thought they were expecting this white-skinned god to come back, and when the Spaniards came, they're like, the gods, and yay, party, and they didn't turn out so well. Well, it turns out that the group and our cosmic cousins. They're human, but much more evolved, and they are not white. They are not Caucasian. I mean, how's this planet going to rearrange their minds around that? I can't wait to share more about the Zulu. Let's see. In closing, I want to thank everyone who's been ordering our graphic novel. It's been doing very, very well. We're working on doing, of course, a movie based on it. We're about to work on our second graphic novel as soon as the writer is available again. And I'm going to have them also writing a script for the movie for it. And in September, we start shooting our series of documentaries that's going to really shine a light and expose the disclosure movement. It's going to be quite interesting. You could be in it, actually. If you have witnessed the cyber stalking in the background, the discrediting campaigns that have gone on, the slander and gossip campaigns in the background that have been coordinated, please contact me at spherebeingalliance@gmail.com, and I'll send your information to the producers. And we're also, all of the people that have been cyber stalking us and attacking us, everyone that put out videos with horrible lies about us, we are going to be covering all of that in detail with all of the cyber investigative reports. Very shocking and eye-opening. This community is quite a mess. We're also, if people in the disclosure movement have, well, just straight up taken money from you in an unethical way, or have been unethical sexually, which is a big problem I'm being contacted about, please also contact me. We've had a number of people, there's been even police reports opened in different countries, people, well-known leaders in the disclosure movement, who have been, convincing people they can heal them with their bodies sexually, and that will activate them into fourth density, sick stuff, and it's really affected people's journeys in a bad way. So if you have any information and you're willing to talk about it, contact me at spherebeingalliance@gmail.com. this is going to be a crazy series of documentaries. It's going to shake up the community, but hopefully the community improves afterwards because it's nuts. People are nuts right now. Everyone's fighting over different narratives. If you look in the different Telegram channels, people are out on regular social media saying all these love and light things, and then in Telegram they're all attacking each other and even promoting these super federation AI profit ideas in the background. But while out on social media they're saying, oh no, that's bad. It's just really weird, really corrupt, strange stuff going on. So I guess that's on par with the rest of the world. Everybody's gone nuts. It's end times madness, I believe. So anyway, please, like I said, subscribe to ascensionworks.tv for a lot more information that I don't deliver on the rest of social media. In the comments, please tell me what you think about the last probably 60 years of stories of angelic looking humans who are here to save us but never do. Tell me what you think. I think there should be an open discussion. I don't think anyone should be shut down. I'm just giving my perspective and the information that I'm being given. I would suggest that you just listen and use discernment. I'm not talking about go with what resonates or feels good, but use discernment. Have a balance of intellect and heart, feeling. A lot of people in this community, they just say, feel, feel, feel. And if you do that, you'll be dancing to other people's tune your whole life. You've got to have a balance of intellect and feeling. And especially in these times when we're getting all of this crazy disinformation from every direction, crazy stories that are conflicting with each other. I'm getting email after email. People are completely confused. It's just that time. So practice discernment. Until next time, I love you. I hope that you're spending time in meditation, in time really trying to process all of the different information that's coming in and not be emotional about it. This is just the craziest time of my period of my lifetime. So I know a lot of people are out there suffering. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people are so beaten down from the fear that was pumped into us over the last 3 years that people are collapsing and they want a savior. They want some sort of a hopeful narrative. And to be honest, the groups that are fighting so hard over one narrative now came to me over a year ago and told me that this community is beaten up. It's in fear mode. It needs a positive story. So this group all coordinated together with a positive story, and they told me that if I didn't go over and start promoting their positive story, that they would call me compromised, which they did. Since then, they've all turned on each other and they're calling themselves each other compromised. You see people that were normally very balanced, attacking people. The community's really descended into chaos. And it's very sad, but unfortunately, it's also content that a lot of the producers I'm working with have never seen before. We're really going to show a side of the disclosure movement that no one's ever shown. And this has gone back decades. We've looked back and we're going to cover going back decades. There's always been this very, drama-causing percentage of the community that has stymied disclosure and, caused problems. And, we're also going to cover, the whole ufology syndicate, all of the cutouts from, the different government groups that created disclosure and created a lot of the top personalities in Disclosure to control the narrative. And all of it's coming out. This is going to be a very interesting series of documentaries. So please subscribe and keep an eye out. We'll be making some announcements in the near future about our graphic novels and about these movies. So until next time, bye-bye. Thank you for watching the Sphere Being Alliance channel. Make sure you click on subscribe and smash the bell to make sure you're receiving all the new content from the Sphere Being Alliance YouTube channel.